Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. I had a pretty fucking lit Yu-Gi-Oh! Childhood if you don't understand where I am coming from. You understand me? So today is Thursday, so you always will see me personally every Thursday, and now on Saturday it will be our joint video with me and Spidey. So this is me and Spidey's reboot to this channel. Don't forget to like the video. 400 likes would be the goal, and if it reaches it, you will make my day. You will make me very happy. It will make me feel like me and Spidey are working towards a realistic goal and that we're actually bringing this channel back to life. So I'm gonna basically kick off about, for the first video, talking about what made me love Yu-Gi-Oh! To begin with. You see, for me, I think my childhood in Yu-Gi-Oh! Was fucking lit. I thought my childhood was the fucking bomb diggity. So I feel like I want people to hear my Yu-Gi-Oh! History, and if they basically think I had a cool Yu-Gi-Oh! Backstory, I want them to be like, oh, I think I had a better childhood than you did. I'm curious, because you see, for me, I was very fucking poor, and I didn't have really anything. So for me, the way I looked at it was, you see, first of all, when I was younger, before I even met Spidey, I used to work in a tanning salon. And in the tanning salon, I remembered I got paid like very shitty. And I remember when these came out, these bad boys. And if you had these, you could duel on the street. And obviously, me being a white, privileged child, all I wanted to be was on the streets playing card games. That's all that mattered to me. So for me, I worked in the tanning salon, and then my grandmother was like, I'll give you the money to buy a dual desk, because I know that's what you want. I'll give you the money, and then you pay it back to me. And that was like my first feeling of being an adult. Like, I made my cash, I bought a serious product, obviously, to take care of my family. So for me, I was like, I got to do this, Grandma. I hope you understand. I'm doing this for our benefit, not just mine. So I was like, I got to do this. And then for me, it's just like, especially from the childhood from, for at least my generation. You see, for me, one fun thing, I have to take this off, I'm sorry. This is gonna fucking destroy my hand. Alright, so for me, it's like, one fun thing about my childhood was when I first met a close friend of mine from back in the day. His name was John. And John had a good white privileged family, and had a good money. And they were basically like, you have all these cards, he had every dual disc. He had the Chaos dual disc, the original dual disc, the GX dual disc. He was like, I think I'm gonna order from Japan and get the other version of Yusei's dual disc, and Jaden's when it was red from the Academy. I was like, where are you getting this money? I'm like, where are you getting this? You see, for me, as time went on, I remembered I dueled John, and I had my dual disc, and we went to a local park full of people, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking duel you, motherfucker. And I was like, this was right when Black, when Black, it was just like, this was right when Horus the Black Flame Dragon, set came out. I forgot, I think it was Soul something. I don't remember the set. But I remember that came out, and Big Core came out. And he was like, summon Big Core, and it has these 3 counters, which makes it invincible for 3 turns. And I was like, okay. You see, for me, I was very, I hated to read, and I still hate to read. That's why I lose all the time. So I feel like it's because I don't sit down and actually read my opponent's shit, and I feel like if I did, I would be in a much better situation. But I don't. So things never change. So, he summoned Big Corn, and he was like, this card is invincible. And I was like, well, I attack into it. Well, I get rid of a counter, and it stays. And I remembered just dueling him in this, perfect little setting, basically similar to when Yugi fought Jaden. And I was just like, it felt so iconic to me. It felt so good, like I belonged there. You understand me? And then, as time went on, I met Evan. And me and Evan, the fun thing about me and Evan was that me and him, when I first met him, because we all played garbage, everything was just a mess. But the thing is that when I first met him, I came to the realization between good cards and bad cards. And the fun part is that we never had an archetype based deck. We would basically just run, we used to call them theme decks. But the fun thing is that, you see, our main good decks were just a generic mashup of good cards that we specifically liked. And that's what was so fun, because there was a whole bunch of good cards, and especially cards that were staples. They were basically just how today's day we just have staples, and it's just Torrential, that's a staple. Solemn Strike, that's a staple. Raigeki's a staple. Just imagine a whole deck, just nothing but staples. That's what the decks were back in my time. And it was just I'll show a deck list of what my deck used to look like. And for me, Spidey's deck was a little bit more complicated than mine. His had strategy based into it, when mine was just more like push through, with just all these good cards. And it was always such a fun mashup of dueling. And me and him, he was like, he loved the Winged Dragon of Ra. He always had the Winged Dragon of Ra, and we based it off the anime. The anime, we based the Winged Dragon of Ra based off its anime effect, and we were like, it's busted. And then I played Obelisk, and John was just like, well, I'll get in on this. Life is mine. And we would just have these great blowouts where John would have like all these extra duel discs. So he would go like, hey, Evan, here's a duel disc. And then he'd be like, okay. And then it was just, we would go downstairs in the basement, and then there would be this big pool table, and everyone would be on different angles, and we would just have these great duels. And it was always like every single time when a week was over, our biggest thing was like, I'm going to do better next week, and I'm going to knock you off your high horse. And for me, it's just like, and especially when I first met Evan, Evan was like, well, I'm a part of this clique. It's called Underground. And I was like, ooh, I like a clique. Can I be a part of that? And he was like, no, you suck. And I'm like, fuck you. I'm like, fuck you. But you see, as time went on, look at me now. I have, my own underground channel. So I basically copyrighted the name, and then I took it wherever I wanted it to. But then when I became an adult, I took my obsession to an unhealthy level. I bought Yu-Gi-Oh! Trophies, Yu-Gi-Oh! Nostalgic things to remind me of my past. You see, this is an English starter deck, Kaiba. This is what got me into the game. So I want to look at what corrupted me. You understand? And then as time went on, I wasn't happy with that. And then I had to start buying prize cards. And then I, little by little, my sanity faded in the darkness. But you see, for me, it's just like, I just love what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. And Yu-Gi-Oh! I felt like I went from being a child that basically did not know and still doesn't know. Not kidding. You see, for me also, when I was really young, I had my share of problems, and I felt like Yu-Gi-Oh! Was my escape. I always had Yu-Gi-Oh! To fall back on and always occupy my time. And for me, it always made me like look into things so much differently, because I was always like, oh, if I played this with this, I'm like, I was too busy focusing on what Yu-Gi-Oh! Was doing for me than focusing on anything else in my life. And for me, it's like, you know what? I still look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Today, and I always say to myself, like, I look at the things that I have, and I say, I could never part with this. A lot of people even commented to me, or when the channel kind of had its, draw spell, and we stopped, and people said, oh, do you still have your collectibles? And I'm like, of course I do. You think I would get rid of my prize cards? Do you think I would do such a thing? You think I would let another person's hands touch my shit? Fuck that. I'm like, I don't care. People could offer me whatever. This is what made me me. My Yu-Gi-Oh! Child had dual disc and all decks and big YouTube channels and deck profiles and working with other Yu-Gi tubers. I was a big name in this Yu-Gi-Oh! Business. And you see, I felt like, I was one of those kids where if I could look back and I remembered like my first couple of duels with people, and people were like, you suck, you're terrible, and people made me feel like garbage. And you know what? Now I look down on everyone else, and I'm like, yeah. Remember when, the real sad thing is, guaranteed they're all like doing so many important things in their life, being like so like mature, and yet I'm wrapped up in nostalgia. But you know what, to be honest, I love nostalgic things. I love things that shaped me into the person. That's why I also love Funko Pops, because Funko Pops, like, to me, like, just looking at, like, you see Snow Mazas, this is like, for me, when Snow, A Year Without a Santa Claus is my favorite Christmas movie. The Statue of Liberty Funko Pop. You see, I'm from New York, so it's fitting. You see, I always feel like I like things that showcase me. Also, for a dark side of me, it's just like, for me, when I was young, I lost my grandfather. My grandfather passed away from Alzheimer's. And then I said to myself, what a horrible way to go. Just forgetting who you are and just not remembering anything. And I hated that. And I said to myself, I'm like, I always thought to myself, if I ever was cursed with something like that, I would always like to look back on videos and just stuff that I had and just give me like a wake-up call saying, hey, these are, even if you forget, maybe these little things could be like the little tiny spark that you might remember a couple of little things. They'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Because for me, I kind of feel like seeing is believing, and I feel like seeing things may trigger something, and I just feel like I'm a hoarder. Key word. I feel like I'm trying to help one habit that may never happen to me and just turning it into an actual fucked up problem. So yeah, so this is basically my video. Me just gloating about my childhood and just saying, look at how cool my childhood was. But it was pretty dope. It was dope. It was cool. And, you know, if you had a better childhood than me, leave it in the comment section below. And please like the video if you haven't already. And other than that, you know, do what Spidey says, ring the bell, podcast, blah, blah, blah. Gotta ring my bell, ring my bell. You see, I would love to play the song, but I would get hit with copyright. I hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you guys on Saturday, where I think Evan and me were talking about the band list, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, I hope you guys all have a good time. I hope you guys enjoy what you be seeing. I hope you understand. You know, I don't have to make videos, you understand? I could be sitting here eating candy. See, because my boyfriend went to Disney and brought me home some candy. Why? I don't fucking know, but I love me some candy. I'm trying not to eat with my mouth full because I remember I did that once on the channel and I never heard the end of it. Have a good day or better tomorrow.